Here's bringing you the latest from US politics as GOP candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is now stirring the hornet's nest for his views on foreign policy. The youngest GOP presidential candidate stole the limelight at the first Republican primary debate, which was held in Milwaukee last week. Interestingly, Ramaswamy has never held elected office or worked in US government, but has now expressed supreme confidence in his foreign policy views. The GOP candidate unveiled a new foreign policy platform, declaring that he will greatly reduce America's international involvement if he comes to power. In an opinion piece on the political website The Hill, Ramaswamy elaborates on policies majorly on 3 arenas of international interest. Ramaswamy has expressed that he plans to visit Moscow in 2025, accepting Russian control of the territories and to negotiate terms with Russia to end the war in Ukraine. But he has also called for strategic clarity on defending US interests in Taiwan. And in context of Taiwan, he says he would put pressure on India to have closer ties with the US and make a deal for the 2 countries to share nuclear submarine technology, so that if China invades Taiwan, he would hope India to assist with the naval blockade of a passageway that China uses to import oil. What is further courting controversy are Ramaswamy's plan of action considering US involvement in the Middle East. He says, and let me quote, he hopes for a rollback in the US involvement because of an uneasy equilibrium that has been reached in the Middle East. 2 things remain clear as far as Ramaswamy's candidacy is concerned. One, that he has given enough reasons to his opponents to scuttle his momentum in the GOP primaries thanks to his new policy platform. And secondly, that he's climbing up the GOP poll and on the path of becoming Republicans' next Donald Trump. Here's the report.
My message to Gen Z voters is it will take somebody of a different generation to shake this up, and you saw it on the stage tonight. Do you want a super PAC puppet with a bunch of pre-prepared lines, or do you want an independent patriot who speaks the truth?
Culture of fear is really what's eroded our culture of free speech in America. And if you ask me, the best measure of the health of any democracy is
Thank you. I appreciate it. Make a little shared announcement. It's going to be a 2-horse race between me and Donald Trump before long, and I'm the only person that can win in a landslide, and I think that's the difference.
Gotta go.
Thank you. Good to see you.
these 2 things can't make sense at the same time if you're operating according to principles of logic. But if you're operating according to a quasi-religious cult, then you can espouse.
I started at 0.0 in March. I'm now, let's probably a second. Look at some of the recent polls and we'll see how things go after tonight.
So I don't care whether you root for Trump or whether you don't. If you root for the integrity of our constitutional republic, then you need to be on the side of being really clear. We cannot have politically empowered prosecutors eliminating the opposition of a ruling party using arrest power. It's a sad day in America. It is a dark day in America.
All right, let's try and get in a sense of perspective in terms of what will these foreign policy views mean for Ramaswamy and the GOP other candidates. And for that, let me introduce my guest today. I'm joined by Puneet Ahluwalia, who is the former Republican candidate for the governor of Virginia. Many thanks to you, Mr. Ahluwalia, for joining in. Now, Ramaswamy has declared that he wants to reinvigorate the Monroe Doctrine, which, for the benefit of my viewers, let me inform them that this is a United States foreign policy position that opposes European colonialism in the Western Hemisphere. He's in fact said that Uncle Sam should not serve as Uncle Sucker to Europe. How do you assess that view, keeping the war and the overall geopolitical climate in view?
I think Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to be Trump 2.0, and he's trying to find the weaknesses or the shortcomings is a better word to say on where the foreign policy really did not drive the point home. Mind the fact that Trump was only in office for 4 years in one term. Had it been another term, we would have seen more of a well-rounded policy on Trump's administration, because if you see his Abraham Accord is one of the finest accord, I think, in reuniting the Israelis along with the Middle East countries, and bringing the entire Middle East towards prosperity. So I think that's a fantastic thing which Trump did. But coming back to what Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to do is he's trying to get the base of the Trump, which has not really sworn any allegiance to any other presidential candidate. So he's trying to be a smart actor in that sense. But I think he's failed on the policy of foreign policy completely. I think we cannot reward despots and autocrats. We've already always known what Putin is all about and what he has done. So I think every country has a free foreign policy. That means if tomorrow Ukraine wants to be part of NATO and the United States feel that's important to have an ally there, or Taiwan wants to improve its defense spending, sure, we should support them.
Now his pledge to pull back military aid to Israel, it's of course part of a larger conversation on expanding Israel's bilateral peace agreements, only so that, Israel is less dependent on military aid from the United States. Are Ramaswamy's proposals pushing the envelope even for the Republican Party now?
First thing is there are no conspiracy theories. We are very clear. In fact, at least the good thing is we have a debate among seasoned, experienced leaders from our party who are all competing for the position to lead the country. On the Democratic side, we have a senile old man who doesn't know which side of the bed he's waking up. Let's be blunt, and his economy is taking a toll on the middle class, especially the hardworking people every day, and especially people don't know where the next lunch is coming from. That's serious, how serious the problem is, and let alone what the foreign policy is. But in regards to the Republican Party, I think, yes, we are independent thinkers. We want to have a conversation. But I think Ramaswamy is wrong on his foreign policy. I think we have a strong ally in Israel, and we need to tell and send a message to our allies that you come and invest with us. We will not let you down. And I'm sorry, President Biden let the Afghan community down when we pulled out our troops out of Afghanistan and the way we did it. So this is not what America is about. We are about freedom. We are about a moral compass that guides us. And along with that, there's a certain balance in the entire world that has to be maintained of democracy, of freedom. And that's what we stand for. And what Ramaswamy is saying is completely wrong.
All right. Puneet, whether his views on leaving Taiwan to China or allow Russia to keep parts of eastern Ukraine in order to entice Putin away from China, also reduce economic burdens of Moscow, how will these foreign policy pronouncements work for Ramaswamy's presidency plans? Also, is he not offering a new line of attack to the Republicans?
Well, Akansha, as I said, I think he has overplayed his hand. I think he really showed he doesn't know much about foreign policy. And I guess I think he's wrong on that, as I said earlier. So I believe that it's not just pushing the envelope, it's just rewarding bad actors. So he may make the headlines today or he may create sparks, but it'll only go so far. I think a well thought through, a well articulated, he is smart and brilliant. I've met him in person, I've spoken to him. But I think you need a seasoned, experienced person who understands the dynamics of the world, and especially when you understand the personalities of the world leaders, along with the people who are around those world leaders and what their vision of their country is. I think he lacks that experience and more, because I believe the people he's competing with have demonstrated over and over again a strong hand. In fact, in terms of Nikki Haley has been a great, successful governor along with DeSantis. She was also UN ambassador, as I said, for Nikki Haley. Christie has been a two-time governor. Pence was a great vice president, and in fact, he was a steady hand along with President Trump. So we have a great cast of characters in terms of the next line of leadership in the Republican Party, and that's the best part.
Right. And on his bit about pardoning Donald Trump, which he hasn't written about in his op-ed, of course, but has voiced about it, several GOP members and strategists have expressed their dismay, saying, why run for presidency if you have to eventually pardon a leading Republican candidate like Donald Trump? How do you weigh in on that view?
I believe Vivek Ramaswamy and most of the candidates who are running are looking to get to the base of the Trump voters and supporters, along with the ones who are his contributors. I think if they disown Trump, their candidacy doesn't go much, but at the same time, it all remains to be seen. As for President Trump, he knows he has a huge slew of issues and problems ahead of him. And I think one reason why he's running is because he hopes that at some point there'll be a deal made that he becomes a president or he gets a pardon from the next president.